So I interviewed him at his lawyer's offices in Midtown Manhattan recently, and in person he appeared very much like he had on the witness stand. He was at times very optimistic, firmly believing, stubbornly in some cases believing that he had done nothing wrong, that the transaction at the center of the SEC lawsuit, there was nothing wrong with it, that his employer, Goldman Sachs, had done nothing wrong. But at the same time, he appeared to be someone that had come to terms with the effect that suit had on his life. He was very clear in knowing that it had destroyed what was a promising life on Wall Street. He had moved on. He's now in grad school and aims to get a PhD in economics, and he was excited about that. He's someone that he admitted that he missed the excitement and the pace of working at a trading desk, but at the same time was looking forward to the challenges that lie ahead of his in his academic career. As far as the trial goes, like I said, I think he felt as though there was never a moment in which he was not, adhering to sort of industry practices at the time. He conceded it was a much different time than today, heading into the crisis. That the market that the trading desk that he operated out of is a much different place today, and that was true, I think, throughout the trial. That this was zeroing in on a time and place that seems, to a certain extent, very foreign today. That seems like it could be a lot further away than just 6 years. It was embarrassing, and to a certain extent, he felt violated. That those emails, not only that they came out so prominently, but that they've remained sort of central to the SEC's case, and they were rehashed time and time again. Now, remember, some of them came out a few years ago, right before the Senate subcommittee hearing, where he had attended along with other Goldman executives. So those but they had very clearly sort of helped shape the public opinion about him, and led people to draw some conclusions about his character, about his personality that he felt were very inaccurate, but understood that these are things that it's very hard to run away from completely. And he was resigned to the fact that to many people he may always be the fabulous Fab. I think he's fully embraced this new life at the University of Chicago. He finished his coursework this past year. That means that he's got about 3 years to go for research. I think a lot of the areas of interest for his research are going to bring him back to that old world. I think he wants to explore the issues around systemic risk within finance, the relationships between markets and economics, and he doesn't appear to be afraid of having to delve into that old, his old world, and reliving and possibly explaining the actions that unfolded, and some of which came about and were reintroduced to everyone during the trial. I think, what he said was that he doesn't see anytime soon going back to that career anyway. So, obviously he doesn't want to have that punishment come down. That would mean that the jury found that in at least one instance that he was liable for committing, violating securities laws. So I think that's not a scenario that he'll want in any way, but I think for the time being, I asked him, if let's say a hedge fund calls you next week, or a securities firm calls you and says, do you want to work here? He said that he wouldn't. He'd tell them no. That that for the time being, that's not something he wants to do. That there's enough of a challenge in his new in life on campus that would not make that as tempting as obviously it might have been before this all began.